So here we are with our cherry saplings, these little seeds that we grew a few years back. They're coming on beautifully, but they're in desperate need of a prune. I should have pruned them back at least a month or so ago, but we're going to talk about that later in the video. I thought this would be a great opportunity to update you on the cherry trees, to talk a little bit about pruning back deciduous trees and what you can expect, and that might better equip you to decide what you're going to do with your fruit trees, your little cherries that you might have grown from seed, or your peaches. And based on your comments, we says, let's graft one and we'll keep another one to grow wild and see what we can get from that fruit tree, should it survive and it not be killed in the summer. We're going to let one basically grow its wild cherry, and we'll plan to graft one so we can ensure a nice, delicious, tasty fruit. And I'm just looking at the trees now, and I'm thinking this one's going to be the most easiest pruning decision I have to make. And I thought we'll use this one for grafting because it's almost growing as a straight whip. A straight whip is a young sapling that basically grows straight up, like a whip, what you'd use to whip your horses and animals with. It's almost doing that, but because of my neglect and lack of timely pruning, it's forked. And well, I'm going to prune this back so we can direct it to grow as a straight whip, and then next year in winter we can graft it if I can find a decent donor plant to get a graft from. So I'm going to keep this as the central leader because it's going quite straight, and I'm going to stake it. I'm going to stake this, push a stake in there. We'll try and direct this one so all the energy is just going up. I'm just going to chop it off here, like that. There we go. So that was quite a simple decision, and that's why I thought, well, let's get this one out of the way. We know where we're going with this one. That cut's going to keep the energy going straight up as a whip. Next year then, in winter, we'll hopefully find a donor so we can graft the trunk. And if that graft takes, then, well, we'll be laughing. So this is the tree that we've chose to be able to grow and produce one day, hopefully, if it doesn't die because of the intense heat here in Cordoba, to produce its natural wild cherries. But it still needs pruning in order for the tree to remain a reasonable size. We control our tree's size by timed pruning, and that's whether you're going to be growing them in a container or you choose to grow your tree in the ground. To keep our trees at a reasonable size, it's going to be done in about late June, in about the summer solstice. It's about the midpoint in the annual growth cycle when all the energy, or most of it should I say, of a deciduous fruit tree is transferred from the root system into the leaves and into the tree. And that's how we devigorate our tree's growth, by taking that energy away by correct pruning cuts. But we'll talk about more about that in the future. At the moment now, we need to make a serious pruning cut to develop them first fruiting scaffolds. And they're going to be basically our load-bearing fruiting branches, and this should have been done basically at the end of winter, just before the start of spring, when most of the energy is still in the root system, because that would give a very enthusiastic, invigorated response. Basically the plant, the tree, would grow back really quick because, well, the energy is in the roots, so it would be able to bounce back really fast. And well, it's May here now. I should have done this in April, so I'm about a month late. I've just been super busy, but we still got a lot of energy here in the roots. You got to think, by the start of spring, when our buds are starting to break out, right up to the end of June, energy is coming out of here and it's going into the plant. The longer we leave it, the less the tree is going to be able to bounce back. So I need to get this done, basically. And this decision is going to affect the future of our tree. So we're going to give our tree a good heading. Before we do any cutting, let's just sterilise our shears so we don't spread any contaminants over, and that's just a bit of alcohol on a tissue. Just wipe, oof, bloody plum, ooh, nearly got me finger. Just to sterilise them. And just take your time, look at your tree and try and imagine. We want our first fruiting branches to be low. We don't want an 8-foot, 15-foot fruit tree. It's not going to really happen in a pot, but it would do if you planted this in the ground. We want to keep our trees small. It shouldn't be any higher than you can reach. We want our fruiting scaffolds to have a good crotch. That means basically how the branch comes out of the trunk. It should come out like my thumb's coming out here, with a good space, rather than as we see this one here. You see how that's coming up? If I put a lot of pressure on that, that's just going to break away. So I think we'll get rid of this. It's tough to know what to do here, really tough. I think we're going to go for an open vase shape with this tree as well, basically keeping the centre open so we get as much light penetration on the inside, which will be good for fruit development. Keep the air in the centre less stagnant, so you basically, the leaves dry quicker when it rains because there's air movement and sunlight penetrating. Overall, it's a great pruning shape for your fruit trees. What I'm looking for as well is buds. Like, we've got a bud here and we've got one here. Now, we don't want this one because that's going to grow into the centre. We want to keep our centre open. This one's going to obviously, if I allow that to grow, if I had to head this branch and take this out, that's going to shoot a branch in that direction. And that could be a pretty nice option. I'm going to bring you a little bit closer. I think the first cut we need to make is get rid of this here, like that. When you're pruning, a pair of bypass pruners, they're really nice. Allows you to make real surgical cuts, really nice and clean. And as you can see, we've pruned at an angle there, quite close to the collar, but not the whole collar. And that'll allow this to heal up nicely. You see, this is not what you want from a fruiting scaffold, because once that, imagine that gets quite heavy with fruit, that's just going to break right off. So I think we're going to cut this back also. If I prune this one, it's going to continue there. Once I head this, you're going to get all these other little dormant buds break out anyway, which will give us more options. This is some tough decisions, but the good thing is these trees are quite forgiving. Would have been much easier just if I'd have had it as a whip, because then I could have just selected a few evenly placed buds to grow, direct the growth. It's not too late. I can stake this, have it grow nice and straight. We can head it nice back here and then get some buds to grow on this bottom section. We want to aim for the branches to be evenly spaced. I think that's going to be the best option. Yeah. So let's get him out. He can go. And I'll be honest, I wish I didn't take that bud off earlier. So I think I'm going to head it up here. Just going to head it there. And that's going to promote more buds to grow around here. And then we can pick them out as they're growing and try and direct its growth evenly so it grows like that. Ooh. Yeah, I think that's fine. In fact, I'm not even going to stake it. Might just leave it like that. We've got this little bud here that it's obviously, that's going to grow over there. That might end up being a nice fruiting branch. Let me bring it in closer. There we are. The important thing is you take your time with these things, and I'm quite happy with that decision. We've got a nice potential little bud just growing here. That's going to grow towards you. Could be a nice scaffold. We've got one actually facing that way as well. So a bit like that, which ain't bad. This one up here and this one, I might take that back once I get more options growing down here. What I'd like is a third branch going towards me, and I think with 3 scaffolds that would be enough. So if I can get one to grow on this side heading towards me, I might cut this back further in a month's time. We'll see how it goes. And then as they start growing, we'll head them again so they don't get too big. Encourage them to bush out a little bit. Well, there we go. Let me know how you're getting on with your cherries. Send me a photo on Twitter if you want to connect that way, so I can see how you're getting on with your trees, or post it on our Discord server. As always, it's been a pleasure. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification. If you want to support the channel, share this video with your friends, or channel memberships are coming if you want to support the channel in that kind of way also, and we'll be talking about the future perks that'll come along with that as well. I'll see you guys in the future.